Hi, hey, it's Sunday and time for another episode of Record Collecting with the Quill. This Sunday we will talk about one-off albums, great albums made by bands that only did one single album. But before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and that little notice bell as well. You know the drill by now, don't you? So there's a lot of bands, cool bands that made just one single album. There's a couple of really famous ones. Sex Pistols comes to mind. Never mind the Bullocks, and quite a few others. I'm no big punk rock connoisseur. I do love some Clash sometimes, but I had a bunch of other cool albums in my collection with bands that only did one album. So I thought I actually I think I found 6 different cool albums in different styles as well. So I thought we would discuss them a little bit, and I'll give you a couple of tips for some cool music. Some are famous, some are not so famous. So we start out with this one. It's a band called Burning Tree. It's an American trio, and they're I guess the most famous guy is this guy, Mark fucking Ford, as they say in the Black Crowes community. This is the band he had previous to join them in the early 90s. They only did one album, released this, and shortly afterwards he joined them for the Southern Harmony album. And this guy, Mark, the bass player, is also in the Black Crowes family. He played bass for Chris Robinson's Brotherhood as well. He played bass when I saw them in Stockholm a couple of years ago. This is a really cool album if you're into guitar-driven, kind of Jimi Hendrix style music. Some great songs and of course some great guitar playing by Mark. He also he's made some quite a few actually really good solo albums that are well worth checking out. But this is where it started. They're called Burning Tree. Really cool one if you like, as I say, guitar music. Check it out. Next one, something completely different. Some album-oriented rock with Hughes and Thrall. It's Glen Hughes and Pat Thrall, the guitar player. Look at those guys. You can tell by the picture that we're talking the early 80s here. This is a really nice, it's well produced, it's some great songs, catchy, and some great singing, of course, by Glen. He always delivers. And they only ever did this one. I think they started out doing a second album, but they were pretty heavy into cocaine and stuff around that time, so I don't think they ever finished that album. But this one it's really cool. It's, as I said, catchy, a little bit a slick production as well, but it's cool nonetheless, so check it out. Next one, we're moving back in time and we're heading to a totally different part of the world, to Australia, with this album. It's a band called Carvers Jute, and the album is called Wide Open. I think it was released the original release was in 71, I believe, in Australia. This one is mostly famous through the bass player. It has Bob Daisley, a young Bob Daisley, playing bass. He later ended up in Ozzy Osbourne's band. He played with Black Sabbath, Gary Moore, just about everyone, Uriah Heep as well. But this is his band he had in Australia before he left for Europe and became an international bass player. This is really, as you can probably tell by the cover, it's guitar driven, it's the early 70s, and fantastic bass playing. You can hear that he has something really special. He's steady as a rock and some really cool bass lines as well. This is a reissue from Italy in the early, I think it's from 2002. It's quite expensive and difficult to find the original release, but this is a cool reissue as well, as I said, with a gatefold and everything. So check this one out if you're like into really cool early 70s guitar driven rock music with fantastic bass playing. Next one, we're heading to, I think we'll start with the CD. It's a Swedish band called Freefall. This album came out, I think, 8 years ago. It's called Power and Volume. There's a couple of famous guys playing in this band. Is Matthias the guitar player from Soundtrack of Our Lives, and it's also Ludwig, the drummer from the International Noise Conspiracy. This is the album Matthias recorded when Soundtrack of Our Lives folded, I believe. This one I ran into kind of, it was kind of a surprise. I saw them, I haven't heard of them, but saw them at a local festival here and was totally blown away. It's kind of like, I would say, to describe the music, it's really heavy rock music in the style of The Who. I think is probably the best way to describe it. It's really nice fold out as well. Great guitar playing, great songs. There's a really cool vinyl edition of it as well I have here, but when I got it, the Swedish post office managed to deliver it like this. So I'm looking to get another copy because this is a really cool album, and this was a special, it was a signed or it was a numbered edition of 250 copies, but as you all know now, there's only 249 left because this one was destroyed by the post office. I got my money back though, but it sucks anyway. Next one, we're heading to Britain and the late 70s. Rockpile, Seconds of Pleasure. This is a classic album for everyone who loves British pub rock. You have Nick Love, you have Dave Edmunds, and you have also Billy Bremner on guitar. This is a really cool, great singing, playing, and great pub rock and roll music. It's a really cool gatefold. And also I have a really nice, you get a free EP as well. It's a little pocket here, so you have an EP with Dave and Nick singing their sings the Everly Brothers. It's really cool. So if you buy this one, you make sure you have to get the free EP as well. This is a great band. I actually made, I think, 1 or 2 shows with Billy, the guitar player, I think 10 or 15 years ago, as a bass player for him. Great guy, fantastic guitar player, and an all-around nice guy. It was, I don't know, it was really fun playing with him, but it was almost more fun to during the breaks and just bugging him. And what was it like playing with Keith Richards, and what was it like playing with Robert Plant? And he was part of the Paul McCartney rock area band as well, so he played with everyone, the elite of the British music industry. But he was cool about it, a really nice down-to-earth guy, and he lived in Stockholm at the time, and I think I haven't heard anything. I still believe he lives here in Sweden, but a great guitar player. He knows his stuff for sure. He played on a couple of the Pretenders albums as well, so cool guy. But check this one out. It's a real classic album. And last one, probably one of the most famous one-off albums. It's Derek and the Dominoes. It's Eric Clapton, Duane Allman, and a couple of other guys. Probably one of my favorite bass players, Carl Rattle, is playing bass on this one. Layla and other assorted love songs. Classic album. This is a Japanese copy I got. Gatefold as well. Some really nice photos. What can be said about this one? Well, so many great songs and great playing, even though they were kind of in a rough shape, Eric Clapton, around this time. This is a fold out from the Japanese version. Sadly, a band that could have stayed together. I love the whole, the rhythm section with Rattle and Simpson on drums as well. Great guys they played with. They're on Joe Cocker's Mad Dog and Englishman as well, and tons of album from around that time. They're on George Harrison's. It slips my mind right now. You know what album I'm talking about, the good one. Anyway, my memory is not getting better with age. That's something we can all agree on, for sure. But my last pick, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla and and other, I have to look at it, and other assorted love songs. That's not a radio friendly title, I guess. So there's a couple of this, some other honorable mention as well. Just came to my mind now. Temple of the Dog as well. That's a great album with Chris Cornell. Don't have that on vinyl. I have it on CD, but that's another one I really have to mention as well as a one-off album. So cool. That was it for now. We're around the 10-minute mark now. Hopefully I'll see you all again next week. And as usual, I've made the Spotify playlist is the same, but I would pick a couple of tracks from each of these albums. So if there's anything you find interesting or something you want to listen to, there'll be in the Spotify playlist, and I will put the link down below in the comment section so you can check it out. I would recommend the Carvers Jute album. Is really cool, so you should check out a couple of songs, especially if you're a bass player. So anyway, make sure to follow us on social media as well. It's the QUILL Sweden. We're, as usual, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere. So hope to see you all again next Sunday, and that's it for now. Bye.